Welcome, traveler! Today, we are continuing our Dark Souls characters into MTG Legends series. The beautiful goddess we'll go over today will be Gwynevere, the Princess of Sunlight. This is Eve. If you're interested, come take a peek into the cauldron.
Thou hast journeyed far, and overcome much, chosen undead. Come hither, child.
She's Gwyn's second born, cherished and beloved by all, for she represents fertility and bounty. The standing figure that greets us, granting the most important item in the game, the Lord Vessel, is a breath of fresh air after the tough battle we just went through against her two protectors. Like many other gods of Anor Londo, she left the city, leaving only a shadow projected by her brother to welcome our arrival. While being an immensely powerful being one of Gwyn's child, and also sporting such a massive figure, which we know in Dark Souls, size equals power, we never get to fight her. So, I decided to make the card based on her interesting covenant, the Princess Guard. Being a beloved god of fertility and bounty, it's not hard to figure Gwynevere in the Cold Pine. She is revered and attracts many followers who eagerly take up the oath of protecting her and Anor Londo as a whole. She is indeed white. But not only that, she's gentle and kind, doesn't hold power for stability or righteousness, but for the good of the community. Growth and prosperity awaits all who are willing to dedicate themselves to her domain. We can't know for certain her rhetoric, but we can make an educated guess for her being straightforward and honest. That's why Gwendolyn, her little brother, decided to use her image over his own to trick us into following Gwyn's plan. This makes her a pure Celestial soul. For one generic and Celestia, Princess Gwynevere is a legendary creature god and is a 1/3 with assist. For those who don't know, assist is a keyword from Battlebond that allows the caster to choose another player to help pay any amount of generic mana the card costs. This ability refers to total casting cost. This includes the commander tax. Being a beloved deity, even your opponents will want her presence on the battlefield. Other non-token creatures have tap with a guard counter on this creature. This includes even your opponent's creatures, of course. So, anyone who wants to join her covenant can do so. And the benefits are, at the beginning of your upkeep, each player gains life equal to the number of guards they control. If any player is 3 or more, they also get to draw a card and put a level on the battlefield. With this ability, any player that takes the time to join the Princess Guard will be able to benefit from her blessings of growth and prosperity. But there are also obligations that come when taking an oath to her covenant. Whenever you attacked, you gain control of all guards until end of turn. You get to untap them and block with them. But, if they die, your controller gets the benefit of gaining 3 life and drawing a card. So, even when they are slain on duty, your followers will still get something out of the deal, and they won't feel as bad when losing their guards. A Princess Gwynevere deck is one that encourages politics play and benefits those who run creatures. Doesn't force an opponent into engaging your game if they don't want to, and lets you play an interesting game where you offer resources in exchange for protection. But be aware that every ability your guards will have are tied to Gwynevere herself. This means that a traitor could snipe her off the table and then swing at you unpunished. never rule of dangerous creatures as threats. And now, let's go over some interesting cards that synergize with this goddess. There are many different ways to build a Gwynevere deck. You could decide to go for life gain, landfall, 8 bears, or generic good mid-range creature. You know where to find the best cards for these archetypes, so I'll focus on some that are gonna be viable for any build of this deck. Lightning Greaves and 1000-year elixirs are great pieces to grant all your creatures the ability to immediately join the Princess Guard Covenant the turn they enter. Swap the Lightning Greaves between creatures to let them immediately tap, and then move them around to finish it on Gwynevere for protection. The elixir isn't as good, but the upside of letting you keep your creatures untapped for blocking and activating other abilities during each player's turn is relevant. Speaking of protection, Mother and Giver of Runes are great cards to get some early guards on the table and stopping your opponents from getting rid of Gwynevere. If you manage to keep your commander alive, it's likely that your life total will be relatively high due to her life gain ability and the other player's protection. Speaker of the Heavens and Angel of Destiny will allow you to translate your life total advantage into a win condition. For how Gwynevere's life gain ability is worded, you get a single amount of life gain during your end step. So, while it's bad for cards that trigger whenever you gain life, it's very powerful for those that are looking for big life total increments. Well of Lost Dreams, while pricey, can refill our hand pretty consistently. And Nyctos Paragon with Gwynevere on the field will allow us to put every creature we control a number of +1/+1 counters equal to the number of guards we control as long as we haven't gained life previously in the current turn. He'll make our team grow out of control really fast. And that was it for the Princess of Sunlight. If you enjoyed the video and want to see more, please consider liking and subscribing. Leave a comment to let me know which character would you want to see next, or point some other cool synergy piece I left out. This was Eve. Thanks for watching.
Now thou shalt go forth, chosen undead. May thou be one with the sunlight forevermore.